This is a door where Eddie stood.
Oh, I remember that,
And you heard the bolt go.
Yeah. On the... Soon watch the video in the end because she wanted to come in.
You open that and tell me how anyone could, but how Spirit could have opened that. Yeah. Not easy, is it?
No.
But he did.
Yeah.
And it moved open.
Hello. Just to let you know, I'm a blank slate. I've not done my research. I want to see what happens.
That's good.
As you can see, it's a tiny.
Best way to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
This is the landscape of the Reverend Richard Kendall.
Oops, sorry.
All right.
Just tell me if you notice anything unusual while you're standing here. Will you smell or see something?
It just smell a bit.
You'll notice it. No, when you smell it, you'll notice
Is it like, is it something
Yes,
specifically?
Yeah, it's a very strong smell. I can smell it. Yeah, he's back. Very faint at the moment, but
You can feel it, can't you? Almost like just like thick.
this is where he's buried. Just here. Yep, he's buried just there. We normally have that open.
Yeah.
And the pair of feet.
Is it tobacco?
Oh yeah.
Is it tobacco?
Cool, I can smell it in here, Eddie. No, I'm not the same. I'll let you carry on. Here, the scent does pick up quite a bit, but here we saw these ghost feet as a pair run all the way down the aisle into the chancel, and just at that point, it disappeared straight into the ground. And it's said that he's buried here. We're here tonight, Reverend Kendall. He's very proactive, he'll make his presence felt, he likes girls. But he won't harm you or anything, don't get me wrong there.
Yeah.
But he likes women. Okay, what are you sensing? What are you smelling?
Not got any smells yet. Just
I'm not going to say it until you smell it, because when you smell it you'll say, wow.
Just
quite a heavy atmosphere, isn't it?
It's just like it's breathed all over you when you smell it, trust me. And sometimes when you're sat in the aisle, he walks down the aisle and you feel the cloth of his garments brushing against you.
Yeah.
He does that deliberately to scare people.
Why do you think he's still here? Why?
Well, when he lived here, it was during the period of the English Civil War, and of course the government of the time was puritanical. In the Roundheads, they were Puritans. He hated Puritans. He said they were a bunch of hypocrites. You know, they were pious about not drinking alcohol, not smoking, not having fornication with other women, and the usual stuff, and yet they were all doing it. Yeah? Which is like today, isn't it? You know, all these TV celebrities have just been burnt out, and they're all up for women's rights and all, and then they're cool, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's happened to a few. It was no different then. But one thing I say about Kendall, he was honest, because he called them out as being hypocrites. He was a drunkard. He was a womanizer. He didn't care. So what happened? The Roundheads sacked him. He was defrocked. When the Royalists took over, they thought, poor man, he'd been thrown out of his church because of his support for the king. So they reinstated him. And he used to have parties in here. You get women's EVP sometimes, laughing and joking. He used to drink locally and obviously got well tanked up, brought all his friends back and had a party here. There's hardly anyone lived here, you see.
Yeah.
So it was a church that had no purpose. It was built as a chapel of rest, we believe, in the medieval period, as an adjunct to a nearby monastery or order. And of course what happened, the monastery or order had disappeared. I think it was the Augustinians, and what was left was this building, and it gradually fell into a state of dereliction. And as I say, the Laudians, this was rebuilt in the Laudian style in the 17th century by a local tax collector, so he must have been fiddling the taxes to be able to build this. And he was the only parishioner. He died, and it again fell out of use. And then in the 19th century, along comes a Reverend Pooley, who wanted to restore the church. He was a friend of Augustus Pugin, and if you look up there, that's Pugin's artwork.
Is that original?
Yeah, that's original. It's the grade 2, it should be a grade 1, to be honest. Because Pugin was one of our... He wasn't an architect, he was a visionary.
Yeah.
His artwork is just magnificent. And when you look at this oozes of that period. This beautiful table. And the tiles. It's just an exquisite building. It's tiny, but it still has a purpose. Anyway, the Church of England had to take on the running of this church, and they kept it going to the 1970s and realised they can't afford to keep 2 churches going. So they decommissioned this church and it's handed over to Norfolk County Council. They set up a trust for it, and now it's used, it's never locked, it's used for public visits. It's at night, it's closed between what, Mum said?
It's from the beginning, 1st of May until the 1st of October.
For the bats.
Yeah,
There's loads of bats.
Bat nursery.
And you might see 1 or 2 old bats, but...
No, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Is it drafty?
So that's it really, and of course this church, well, it's not really a church now, this chapel, ex-chapel, is a seat of a lot of activity because of our friend here. He craves company. If you saw my last video from here, we went outside for a break and he was saying, "Where are you?
No.
Come back now!"
I won't.
He was
noise.
That was me, wasn't
No.
What's that?
Did you hear it?
What?
Like a rumbling.
Yeah, I
Really?
couldn't tell if
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Mister?
Over you, it sounded, or under you, it sounded like.
Hopefully
I
we'll
couldn't
get
tell
that
if it
on
was your
recorder.
voice sort of throwing itself
Yeah.
at the same time, or...
Well, last time when I was talking over there, EVP was picked up on my camera of me talking while I'm talking.
Oh, yeah.
You worked that one out.
I haven't seen that video for a while. That was weird. Could be a train, maybe.
Do you know, it's not entirely relevant, but the first thing I thought of when I saw that ceiling, it's very, very similar to the chapel at Burton Constable.
Yeah, it is actually, isn't it? Is it simple?
Oh, that's a voice. That's a voice.
Oh, and the Reverend Pooley, he doesn't seem to have any input here. He's buried outside. He's got a magnificent grave, all granite and marble, beautiful to look at. He's buried at the side. So basically, he too came here, found a redundant church, and then he wanted to be the vicar of his own church. He was a vicar, so he had it redone. He obviously had plenty of cash, and this is the result. So it's a beautiful building, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Very much.
But we're actually on the same footprint as the original medieval church. It's just been, and the original Laudian church. So we have, basically, this is the 3rd reincarnation of the same church.
How many houses are around it? How many houses are there?
There's a couple down the
It's just a
side.
couple.
Yeah. So it's quite remote
It's
here.
very remote.
And the only other bits to look at here. This here, okay, this is a guy who rebuilt it in the 17th century. What was his name, Eddie?
Thomas Bancroft.
What?
Thomas Bancroft.
Thomas Bancroft. He was a tax collector.
Ah.
That's his grave here. This is Bancroft's grave.
Just little Thomas there.
But you see, but there's no monument to Kendall, and he's buried there. So somewhere along the
He is
way-
actually buried, we think, right in this corner there. Just in that corner.
Really?
That's where we
What
got the
proof is there
dowsing.
for that?
That's through dowsing.
Because when we saw those feet, they came to this point, and then they disappeared underground, which suggested that was the point of
Two
entry.
people who's actually done dowsing, and they've actually been in that corner from 2 people.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that, only because every time I've walked in here, it's when I've picked up that smell that we were talking about. And that's where you capture the feet disappearing into the ground. If he was buried there, surely his feet would have gone across there. I don't know.
Yeah, no idea. But
Perhaps he might answer it tonight. We never know.
just had two.
And those beautiful tiles,
Yeah.
aren't they exquisite?
Yeah, yeah. That's surprising.
It's just, it's amazing. I'll show you down the bottom. I'll show you the tower.
Did someone just say something?
I keep hearing a woman's voice, I do.
Yeah, that was a female's voice.
there's the bell tower, that little tiny tower that you saw in the picture. It's like a big church in miniature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what do they use it for during the day? Is it
Just open to the public.
Just open
yeah.
to the public.
Ramblers come through here.
like
Other people coming in here as well, seen some of the videos on YouTube.
that? Yeah.
I think that might be us.
Oh look, there you go, that shit.
What's that?
There and now, all over the walls, look. I think that hatch is left open, isn't it, Eddie?
That has been left open from time to time, and then there's also a few little holes in one of the windows.
And that's obviously where they nest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Up there.
Indeed.
Yeah, funny little creatures.
But yeah, the main one, that's where we just now come from. That's
So that is basically it.
That's
On the wall
Possible
here,
boys.
up here, you've got the rectors of Santon.
Oh, that was me. Just.
And if you look up there, you can see the Reverend Kendall. It's somewhere on the list.
Yeah, from the left hand, on the right hand side, just a little way down.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so really it all ended. 1991 was after it unified with the other church, because they ran them as two churches for a while, then they just gave up. But it's basically a retirement home for priests, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is.
But Mr. Kendall is very, very active. Sometimes you get people off in that room.
Yes.
There's no important glasswork here, as you can see. It's all.
I think Chris is joking about the LARPing. Seeing what the others will pick up.
Santon Church. When you look at the video, it always seems bigger, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a tiny little place. We normally run for about an hour or so, the length of the tape, because by that time it tends to go dead, doesn't it? What we're going to do here, we're going to set up we'll do a PSV 7 and 11 to do a side-by-side comparison. I've got a new night light that I bought when I was a guest speaker at Crescent Temple, paranormal thing. It's a nice piece of kit. It's a guy who lives in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Simon Witt, do you know?
No, I don't know.
He built it. He's selling them at £27.50. I had my doubts, but I did a couple of trial shots from my house, and it really lights up. So I'm going to try that tonight. It runs off one battery. So yeah, this area here is going to be our trial area. The way you use that. It's the only table in the house. Well, unless you want to sit up in the. Eddie likes to go up in the pulpit occasionally and start singing, don't you, Eddie?
Sometimes work. Had a lovely one, I really did. Had a song, and afterwards you hear him go, "Oh, that's lovely."
What about the other one, that voice? I'll come and beat you up, you effing. But
Oh, that's a good one, wasn't
oh, really rough EVP.
Hey, you down there. I've
Did
seen
you
your
hear
ass
that?
and communicate.
Yeah.
I've got a good one you might want to hear later on from just a couple of weeks back.
So he's a man in spirit who obviously still thinks he's alive, or he certainly doesn't want to relinquish his possession here, as it were. And I have a different. Everyone has different theories about this place. I think personally, in my own personal view, it's one person who does a multitude of personalities. Eddie's been here a lot longer than me.
No, definitely not.
Eddie's got believes it's maybe 2 or 3 people.
Oh, there's quite a few in here. I mean, so the last one I got, that long one, the female was talking at the same time as what he is. He's talking and she's saying, "I'm here." That was quite
That
amazing.
roof was made, that gives so much strength to it. Look, like little bar sinisters right up and down the side. They call it clapboard work, I think, but that adds an extra strength to the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building, and I'm pleased it's still a church. It could easily have gone the other way. Someone could have bought it, knocked that into a kitchen. This would have been the dining room, and they would have built an extension at the back. You know, all the usual stuff. Might have been a bedroom up there somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
But it's still here because I don't think they can do anything with it because of the connection with Augustus Pugin. But some of the medieval stonework from Santon Church, which is now part of the Army's battleground training area, the church is still there, it's looked after, but no one's allowed to go there except on special days. But the Army uses it as a training ground. But Pugin was involved in the restoration of Santon Church. Now, a lot of the rubble which he declared surplus to requirements was used here to rebuild this church. So we've got part of the medieval church at Westhoffs, we've got the medieval history here, and we've got an earlier church of the 17th century built by a tax collector. So,
It's certainly interesting.
you pleased you're here now?
Very.
You smell anything yet?
Not yet.
No, you will do when we set up. I'm going to go outside and bring my bag in because it's going to take me a good 5 or 10 minutes to set everything up.
Do you need your help or do you need a hand?
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I should be all right, mate.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can actually. You can hold that for me while I'm fitting around it. And of course, we're allowed to be here as well.
Yep, we have indeed. What do you think of this little place?
It's amazing. I didn't expect it to be this small, but I
Yeah,
think that's a good thing.
this is one of the smallest churches in the country. I think there's only one smaller,
Yeah.
and that's in Wales.
Yeah.
But it's one of the smallest.
It's
About
really
any
nice. How often do you come?
I try and get here about every week, about once every week to a fortnight, something
Yeah.
like that.
Do you think they're familiar with you, comfortable, or
Sorry?
do you think they're comfortable with you coming, or?
Let's just say we have had a few derogatory remarks.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be quite impressed if I hear some actually. I think I'm like bad luck or something. Whenever I go, things go quiet. So.
Well, hopefully things got to be good, because I already had a possible 3 different sounds tonight.
Yeah.
So we wait and see.
Yeah, I did hear something over there. I'm not entirely sure what it was.
Sort of like a rumbly sound, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I must admit, I missed that one. But then I heard like a female voice
Yeah.
later on.
I didn't hear that one, but now it tends to hear higher pitched things than a lot of people do. And he seems to pick up on things quite easily, so you can pinpoint the right moment to play back your recording, which is quite useful.
Indeed.